on my very first day, I did do my first incision, and I also did some sewing and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I wasn't just observing. And I'm quite the, I'm quite the seamstress, isn't it? It's a death sentence.
Welcome to It's a Death Sentence. I'm Emma Skip.
And I'm Carrie Smith. I nearly said I'm Carrie Skip.
Carrie Skip, if you like.
Carrie Smith.
Yeah. So we're going to talk today about decomposition, which you know a lot about.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, way more than most people. If you are tuning in for the first time, Carrie does autopsies for a living, not just for fun.
It's frowned upon to do for fun.
So what we're going to discuss today is what actually happens to your body when you die.
So people are uncomfortable, aren't they, talking about dead bodies? But decomposed ones, then it's another level, isn't it? So, but also I think people are intrigued when it comes to decomposition. There's that little morbid curiosity, like, ooh, okay, ooh,
I
really?
think it makes sense because I think as humans are always perplexed by what we don't know. So the things that we tend to really focus on, religion, philosophy, what happens when you die, they're things that we can't know the answer to. So with this, we can know the answer, can't we? But it's still taboo. So,
gross.
There's not a lot of people that are like, I should go out for dinner and just talk about decomposition. We would.
Yeah. That's why we've got no friends.
Yeah.
No one wants to go to dinner with us, darling.
Oh, is this a national call out for whether they'd like to go out?
Like-minded people.
Yeah. So
are we calling it decomposed or the fermentation stage or?
Well, I loved that word when I read it. Yeah, because I know you've done a bit of research. We've both gone off and done some research for this and a bit of fact checking separately, like we do. Fermentation. When I think of being fermented, I think of, sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Or fermented foods that are good for you.
Home brews, I think,
we're actually drinking a bit of kombucha now, so
yeah.
Cheers.
That's
what we do. But yeah, fermentation or fermentation for the body. Do you want to talk me through that?
Well, I suppose decomposition is exactly that, isn't it? It's the breakdown of the body after death. So, there's loads of stages to it. So how deep do we want to go? So what happens after death initially, obviously, you stop breathing, your heart stops, and that's it, effectively you're dead. But your body, obviously, still got loads of living organisms in there.
Yeah, I was reading a bit about that. I'll come to it later and ask you to clarify these facts. But it's interesting because it's not like it just turns off. So does it, the body sort of almost dies in little increments?
The cells don't die at the same time. So they sort of take a while. Some can take hours, some can take longer.
Yeah. That's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's a saying, isn't there, where there's life finds a way. So even in you see animals decomposed in the wild and mushrooms sprout up from those things. So that they're like a fertiliser. They fertilise the soil from their remains.
Well, it's lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Nice.
That's why I want to be a tree.
You're going to talk us through this then? When someone dies, here's the big things. Have you got it there?
So the first thing that happens when you die is something called Pallor mortis.
Which is different to rigor mortis, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's lots
Pallor.
of mortises. Exactly that. So Pallor mortis is where the skin goes pale. I just realised
we're filming and I've done this and you've gone exactly that, but actually anyone listening has got no idea what we've just done.
Touch
so
your
pallor, your face, or it's your colouring.
Your colouring, yeah. So your skin goes pale, and that's basically because there's no circulation. So the blood's not circulating and you're going to go pale. So Pallor mortis is the first stage, obviously after you've stopped breathing and your heart stopped. Then we go on something called algor mortis. Ooh, do you want to guess what that is?
No, I couldn't guess. Algor. Don't know the word.
It's basically to do with temperature.
Okay.
So the body cools down and it can be cold to the touch. So that's when someone, they'll say, oh yes, they're dead. How do you know? Oh, they're cold to the touch.
It's their lack of life.
Yeah. No pulse and cold to the touch. And then finally,
algor mortis. Pallor mortis first, algor mortis second, and then rigor mortis. Which is what most people are familiar with. Most people just think somebody dies and goes stiff, but that isn't true either, is it?
the muscles become stiff in places that they were never stiff before. So childish.
What a night about.
And it's because of something called ATP, which is actually called, I'm going to have to read it out.
Isn't that a pop song at the moment?
No, but it did make...
APT. ATP. Is it ATP or APT?
It's ATP, but it reminds me of my
your job title.
Yeah. But it's actually called adenosine triphosphate, and it's a molecule in the body that actually causes energy transfers. So that allows you to move, allows your muscles to move. So as this runs out, that's when the muscles start to stiffen.
Okay. And how
That's
long?
Rigor mortis.
So, and this is something else I was trying to read a little bit about rigor mortis because I don't know much about it. So that can happen, is it usually within a couple of hours of death?
So it depends on the environment you're in as well. So if it's very cold, it can happen sooner.
Yeah.
It's usually 2 to 6 hours, I think it is, before it starts to set in.
It doesn't last, does it, rigor mortis?
It can last up to 48 hours or 24 hours.
And then very stiff.
Some people are.
Yeah. Is that hard for you, work-wise? To manoeuvre?
No, not really. It sort of helps.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Well, if you're trying to move somebody and they're all over the place...
Floppy.
Yeah. It'd be difficult. Whereas if you're moving a ruler...
And you know...
Sort of your rotation...
Are they really, really stiff? Like super stiff, solid?
Sometimes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
And it depends how they've been kept as well. So if they've sort of... At, this point when they've got rigor mortis, they've been dead a while.
Yeah.
Presumably they've been in a fridge in a mortuary. So they're cold.
Does that
Any fatty
aid it
tissues then obviously go a bit more solid, and they can be a lot easier to move.
Wow.
It's very difficult to explain if you've never moved a body.
No.
But yeah, they can be easier to move.
Okay, so going off piste here, you know that I like to do that. So if somebody dies in an odd position, like sat in a chair holding a glass of gin, something like that, and they die in that position, can rigor mortis effectively set in that position then?
Yeah.
Have you ever had to deal with that? Like being called out or something to... And then how the fuck would you transport them if that's the case?
Yeah, so luckily that's not my job. But there are cases where we see it a lot in the mortuary. Bodies will come in and whoever's collected them at the other end before they've come to us has potentially not laid them out as nicely as some others would.
Right.
And therefore they can have sort of limbs that are bent up and things. And you can release the tension by moving the limbs.
Like massaging?
Almost like massaging, yeah.
Right.
The more you manipulate the limb, the looser it will get.
God, is that hard?
Can be.
Yeah, I bet.
Sometimes, yeah.
Especially if a person's really big. And if they're really muscular or really overweight, like fat, does that make a difference?
It doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't?
Sometimes they can be really hard to move and stiff, and they're quite small.
Okay. So there's not a real...
No.
Yeah. And a lot of it's environmental then?
Yes, obviously if they're very cold and they're kept somewhere that's cold, it can have an impact on the rigor mortis itself. But normally it goes off between 12 and... Sometimes it can last up to 24 hours. Sometimes it can last longer. Like I said, it's all depends on the condition.
And then when it wears off, does the body then go back to its more natural state? Or is it...
I think it's just easier then to manoeuvre the things. They don't necessarily go back to being
presumably
flaccid,
all that blood
because the blood is
flowing.
Yeah, it's not flowing. So therefore, they're still going to be fairly stiff.
I mean, you have just used the words flaccid and stiff.
Oh, my God.
It's that time. It's the first thing in the morning as well. And then we come to something called livor mortis. Am I pronouncing that right?
Livor mortis, which is basically where people call it blood pooling. It's where you get sort of purplish patches. So if you've been lying flat,
I've seen this.
You'll get like a purplish patch where the gravity is at work. Yeah, so that can... And, that's why sometimes bodies will come in very congested in the face if they've died like this, head forward.
Right.
The blood
has gone
naturally
forward.
Is gravity, isn't it? Yeah, so
does that affect how they look? I've got to word this right. Does that affect how they look forever? in the short term, so for like families want to view the body and they've died in that position, does that colouring stay like that? Or when you put them back again, does gravity still work? Because
Well, it might work a little bit, but it'll still be very slow because there's no movement,
Okay.
no circulation.
Yeah.
It might affect how they look. You can sometimes counteract it, but obviously swelling and everything, you know, if your head is forward
yeah,
and, you know, this has kicked in already and you've got blood pooling, the likelihood is you're going to have sort of tissue, like fluid as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite swollen. So it can affect how
I've got another question.
people look.
How, if somebody dies in that position that we've just discussed, so for anyone not watching, face forward or leaning forward,
Yeah.
do their eyes go strange as well? Do they go bloodshot?
It depends on why they've died, I suppose. Honestly, the answer is I don't know.
Okay.
I can't say that's categorically that's what happens.
It
but
seems to
could
me like
be.
it is different for,
Yeah,
circumstantially different for whoever it is.
yeah,
in the
of course.
position. Yeah.
But I suppose it could be because there's more blood pooling and obviously there's blood and stuff circulating around those areas. So they might be more red and...
This is fascinating, isn't it? And you can really, really see where people who create horror films get their inspiration a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to see it, is it?
No.
So tell me then what happens when, after that, and we actually go into decomposing.
So that's something called autolysis or autolysis. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Basically self-digestion, which sounds horrible, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's just really brought up an image of a biscuit for me straight away. So I think digestive biscuit.
Oh,
I realise it's
not
irrelevant.
self-digestion. No.
Wow. So self-digestion,
Yeah.
meaning that we start to literally...
Eat ourselves, basically, or
Wow.
all the enzymes in your body are then free to sort of roam.
Okay.
Your immune system's switched off. Obviously, you're dead. It's not working. So all the enzymes and things are free to have a bit of a party and do what they want to do.
An enzyme party.
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
self-digestion.
sounds like a party I want to go to.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, self-digestion, and the cells start to break down from the inside.
Okay. And then we've got something, this word really is gross, isn't it?
Putrefaction.
Yeah. It's, I mean, that is anything with putra. We know
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
putrid,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's disgusting. So, and that is, am I right in thinking it's to do with the bacteria?
Yes. So that's when the bacteria basically is loose.
You're full of it.
Normally from like the bowel.
Okay.
You know, obviously because we've got good bacteria in our gut.
Well, I've got a good question for that later.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
So the bacteria in our bowels, in our bodies, then is just free to roam really, and it starts to break everything down. The bacteria then
Well, that's its
produces
job,
gas.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But obviously there's nothing there like the immune system to keep them all in check, because normally your body would be fighting off anything
With the
that was,
immunity.
Yeah,
okay.
would be fighting off anything that was a bit untoward, and that's not there.
And let's talk about gas. You know I love to talk about gas.
So the bacteria makes the gas.
Okay. So, and this is when we, I think one of the common perceptions of death is firstly the rigor mortis and then secondly bloated bodies. So is that where the bloating comes from?
Yeah.
The gas?
Yeah.
Okay. And do they get really big then?
Why are you so delighted?
Really interested in it.
They do get big. That stage is, so there's like fresh when they're freshly dead, and then there's bloat.
Are these terms that you use?
I mean, there's stages of decomposition.
Wow.
Yeah. So bloating,
So
like
fresh dead and bloating dead.
the bacteria produce the gas. The gas then has nowhere to go, so everything swells up. So bellies swell up, lips swell up, tissues swell up,
The face.
bollocks swell up. Sorry, men.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that look?
Painful.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Really
boy.
bring a lot of men to tears, the sight of that, I imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, everything sort of swells.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Look at her face. Yeah. Could they explode?
No.
In any situation though, like if somebody were just left.
No. I have when we do postmortems on those sorts of bodies, if they're very swollen, you can tell that there's gas in there.
Oh.
When you do your first cut,
sometimes
it goes...
Really? Like a balloon? Won't make sense.
Comes out like a noise, and it's very smelly.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very potent.
I bet
smell.
a really, really specific type of smell. I bet it's not really something you could compare to anything else.
Yes. It smells like dead bodies.
Yeah. And it really makes a noise then, and the noise is
can
quite
do, yeah.
high pitched, yeah. Well,
It's like
releasing air from anywhere.
Yeah, it's like
else, but
pressure. Yeah.
Okay. Right then.
I mean, that's gross enough.
Yeah.
But
so we've talked about the smells and sounds and myths. Let's address things that people are scared to ask. Well, I've got loads of stuff on that. We have just talked about smells.
it does smell. I mean, we've talked about it with Ross before. We had an interview with Ross King, and he was saying that obviously he's used to dealing with maggots
On
sheep,
animals,
on animals. Yeah. It's very similar with human beings. Obviously, maggots are present. They're in the atmosphere. If there's flies around, they're going to land on a dead body. They're going to lay eggs. Maggots are going to be present. The maggots are going to eat the body, eat the tissues. But yeah, there is no smell that is quite like death. Like, you know it when you smell it. And you can see, like, on the movies and things, like police officers will open the door and they'll be like...
Because it could it make you sick straight away?
A lot of people do get sick. A lot of the police maybe that go out to the dead bodies that will come into us that are decomposed, a lot of the time they can't go, they are physically sick sometimes at the scene.
Really?
Yeah. Especially if it's the first time you've seen a dead body.
Yeah. So
and it's a maggoty dead body.
It's the two things combined. It's not just the smell, it's the actual presence of what they're viewing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember the first time I saw a dead body. The first time I saw a dead body was years before doing what I do now.
Was this when you were with ambulance service then?
No, it was before that. When I worked in like a nursing home or something. And it was like, it felt like it was right. It was an old elderly person.
Yeah.
And the nurse I was working with, she laid them out, opened the window, did all the, the rituals that nurses do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like distressing in any way. I think it was an expected death.
Yeah,
so,
and there's a peacefulness about that.
Yeah, it was like, there was something eerily nice about it. Mm-hmm. It was done in such a respectful way. And then, obviously, I've told you the pirate story about going out to find a dead body when I worked for on the ambulance. But actually, in the job I'm doing now...
For anyone wanting to listen to that episode, can you remember what it was called? It's really
funny.
Dead funny. Yeah. Really worth a listen, that one.
When I first saw a dead... like, when I went on my first day at this job, you have to go and have like a trial to see whether you can actually cook the mustard, basically.
Wow.
And they said to me, when you walk in here, there's going to be loads of dead bodies. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I walked in and there was loads of naked dead bodies on these tables, obviously because we were about to do postmortems on them.
What job was this?
The one I'm doing now.
The one you're doing, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, this was definitely not the nursing home. This is strange practice. Okay.
So seeing those dead bodies was a bit shocking because there was...
Well, because it's so odd
many.
Context as well. Like one dead body is like, that's the focus, but to suddenly be presented with
five,
I mean, even if they were alive and naked in a room, all still, it would be weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not something you do a lot, is it? So to be presented with several dead, naked bodies in one go.
Yeah. It was very strange.
And do you think they do that on purpose to see if you literally, like you've just said, see if you can stick, can you do it?
Yeah, I think actually doing the job. And I remember my mentor said to me at the time, who was going to be my mentor, he said, you need to do your first cut. If you can't do it now, you're never going to do it. So like on your first trial, you need to be able to do it, physically do the job. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to do it.
Wow.
Because you get in your own head about like the fear of it. And on my very first day, I did do my first incision, and I also did some sewing and stuff like that.
Wow!
So I wasn't just observing.
And it turned out Brownie's tapestry really came in handy.
Yeah. And I'm quite the seamstress, as it's.
I bet you are. I bet you're really methodical and neat.
I try to be.
I bet you are.
Yeah, so that was one thing, and seeing all those dead bodies.
Did you cut them?
Yes, I did. I did.
Did anybody not?
There was only 2 jobs.
Oh, okay.
So there was only me and
So you
the girl.
elbowed them out the way?
Oh no, she was with her mentor and we both did fine. But it's funny because I couldn't eat anything.
Both women, interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't eat anything all day.
Oh, really?
And I got home and I had been fine all day, but I got home and I said to my husband, I feel physically sick.
Oh.
I don't know if I can do this job.
Was he supportive of you going into that role?
I mean, he's very squeamish.
Oh, bless him.
So he doesn't. We don't talk about stuff, really, unless we have to.
Is that hard for you?
Not really.
No.
It's quite nice. If I wanted to talk about something, he would listen and he'd be like, oh my God, I don't know how you do that.
Okay.
But he's quite squeamish, really.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. He's married the wrong person, really, isn't he? And the first time I saw a dead body that was decomposed, I gagged. I was like,
whoa.
oh.
Did you really, could you have been
I felt
sick?
like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit.
Wow.
Like I felt it rise in my throat.
Do you still ever get like that?
I sometimes do,
Yeah.
If it's really smelly, yeah.
Okay.
And what happens to me is I start coughing. So I start going, then you can feel yourself.
Your colleagues like, here she goes.
And they're like, stop coughing because you're going to make me gag. And then I make somebody else gag because
It's like a little
chain reaction
wave of gags around the mortuary caused by you.
Yeah. Normally for me, it's pus that makes me gag. And I'm actually not so bad with the old.
That word is gross.
Yeah, I'm not so bad with the decomposed. It's more the pus.
And does pus occur in dead bodies where there's been infection mostly, or can it just occur because of decomposition?
No, it's mainly for infection.
Okay.
And it stinks.
Ugh.
Like, in some respects for me, it's worse than the smell of a decomposed body. The smell of pus.
I'm not particularly squeamish. I've
Yeah.
not been faced with what you've been faced with, but I'm not particularly squeamish. But that for me would be where that would be my...
That's hard.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, going back to the first time I saw an actual dead body that was decomposed, I gagged. And then I was fascinated by what I was looking at. I thought, oh my God, as if this happens to our bodies. And the one thing I remember is the person who was there that was decomposed, that was having a post-mortem, was a black chap.
Right.
But actually, his skin, where he'd decomposed and this had skin slip and the skin had started to come away.
What did you say there? Skin slip?
Yeah, something called skin slip. The sort of skin starts to come away.
Right.
Some of the pigment comes away as well.
Oh.
So I was fascinated by the fact that you wouldn't have known, what colour this person was.
Really?
Yeah, because obviously the pigment is only in the epidermis, isn't it, of your skin? So, is it melanin?
Yeah.
Is only in your epidermis.
Yeah.
So, in parts of decomposition, all that sort of top layer of skin starts to come off. And when it came off, underneath was obviously a lighter shade of...
Wow.
And I just thought it was fascinating.
That is fascinating.
And when I was reading his history, and I was like, oh, this guy's from the Caribbean.
Wow.
And in my head, I just couldn't compute.
Couldn't put it together.
No. Which is, stupid now when I think about it. But
yeah, but if you
at the time, you've never
Yeah.
seen a dead body. You've never seen a decomposed dead body. I had seen a dead body, but never seen a decomposed one. Yeah. And I was just blown away by
I think
the changes.
We are naturally fascinated. I think if we reflect on even being children and seeing a dead bird in the school playground or whatever, most children will want to look at it. They want to know what it looks like. And then obviously adults rush out and say, don't look at that. It's,
Yeah, that's death.
But actually, I remember doing that and thinking, oh, okay. And especially when you see the bone structure underneath or where there's been proper decomposition and you're and it's even on a beach or whatever, seeing things that are in stages. I think that our nature is, we don't know that. We don't understand it. And therefore, of course, we're intrigued by it.
Yeah. I remember doing the garden last year in the summer and I was weeding and something and I picked up these little what I thought was just I don't know, bits of weed. And there was a tiny little skull in there. Ooh. It was like a little mouse's that had obviously decomposed, caught by a cat or something.
Yeah.
And it was like a little mouse skull. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I think if my kids, I wonder whether my daughter might be a bit more squeamish. My son would probably have that reaction.
Yeah,
wow, a wow reaction.
Yeah.
I suppose it's different if you're just picking up bones where there's, nothing disgusting attached to it. But yeah, I suppose if it's early decomposition of an animal or anything, that would smell as well, presumably.
Yeah. You smell it before you saw it.
Okay, I've got some.
So the bloat stage is normally 2 to 6 days after death, depending on.
And then the bloating goes away as well. Then.
Well, then the body starts to break down. So there can be lots of purging, like fluids coming out of mouths and noses.
Yes, I've read about that. That's that sort of browny.
Yeah, it can be like a browny, bloody sort of colour, mainly brown, yellowy.
And it comes out of the nose and the mouth mostly.
Yeah. Tissues, fluid starts to leak out the tissues. You can get little blisters on the skin, which causes the skin slip. So the skin blisters up, fluid underneath it. If that pops or leaks out,
the body dies, but all of this is going on.
Yeah. Then when the fluid comes out, and then actually what's going on inside the body is all the fats and everything starting to break down. The organs can start to lose sort of shape, and any pathology that's going on in there can be seriously compromised. So if something happened and there was something that the doctor needed to look at, if they're decomposed, it's not going to be the best specimen.
Okay.
So it can sort of skew how things are, how results are.
Yeah, so for you, finding the cause of somebody's death is best done as quickly as possible after they've died.
Yeah, because
it becomes harder and harder. Yeah,
the more decomposed they are, the worse the organs are, and there's lots of fat. I mean, literally, have you ever seen ghee? You know, like what they cook with, like butter meat.
Yeah,
that is what the fat that starts to break down is like in the body, and sometimes it's so oily I have to ladle it out.
Wow.
Depends on how much fat they've got.
If you're listening to this,
sorry, that's very graphic.
You are listening to this and you need to see the clip of that, because she just did the motion for ladling.
we use a ladle for a lot of things.
I found this word, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, taphonomy, the study of decaying organisms.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Isn't that interesting? I love a word.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure that you knew about that. Carry on. Sorry, I've just sweeped in with that.
No, that's all right.
I was quite excited about it, yeah.
So after bloat is something called active decay.
Oh, okay.
And that is what the liquefying of the organs.
And again, isn't it interesting? The word choice is active.
Yeah.
In the dead. It's active.
It's all living bacteria.
Because bacteria is alive, yeah.
They're breaking it all down.
Just doing their job.
Yeah. And then, referring to my notes here. And then, I can't even read my own writing. Advanced decay after that. So between 10 and 25 days. And that is when the decomposition starts to slow right down. So most of the tissue has been eaten by the bugs or maggots or whatever. And then the maggots have got nothing to eat. So they pretty much fuck off. Yeah. Turn into flies and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and go and do their job somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're really, really needed role in the world, aren't they?
And then after that, 25 days plus is like sort of skeleton dry remains. So everything starts to dry out.
Yeah.
So it goes from that very wet, oily, potentially. Everyone's different.
Sorry, how long was that?
25 days plus. But also, again, that depends on what
the environment.
They're in. So, like you see people find bodies that have been in like, I don't know, bogs, mud bogs, and they're preserved. And they've probably been there for, God knows how long.
And that does happen then. They said if they're in water, they are preserved for longer.
Not in water, but like, like in like soil, some certain sort of soils or clays can sometimes preserve things. Right. In water, I'm assuming that would just speed up because there's probably more bacteria in the water. Yeah. It would be a different.
What about if you die in like a really arid, hot environment? How does that affect the decaying?
So sometimes we have dead bodies that come in that are decomposed, but they're not purging or
oily,
and they sometimes are more, because they're in an arid environment, like a dry environment, there might not be any flies or anything present really.
Okay.
They might have less fat and liquids in their body.
Because it's just drying out because of the heat.
Basically, they dry out, and it's the only way I can describe it, I always second guess myself before saying things, is, have you ever seen them dog chews?
Oh my God. Yeah, and I know exactly what you're going to say. Is that's what they look like? So that's sort of like the muscles and
those dog, like the bits of is it rawhide or whatever that they eat.
Yeah,
like
old
that
leather.
Yeah,
like
and it becomes
old leather.
Very difficult to sort of sew back together and things like that because it's so tough.
Does it go brittle?
It can do. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do then in that situation if you've got to put somebody back together and it's...
Yeah, we just do the best that we can.
Yeah.
You know.
You can't make that tissue that once it's gone all dry and everything, you can't make it...
No, you can't make it more pliable, but
no.
you just have to try and do what you can to, you know, with
break the needle
and, you know, try and make them look the best of a bad situation and give them as much dignity as you can, regardless of their condition.
It must be hard for you, not just like psychologically and emotionally when you're having to sew somebody back together that's been in an accident or something like that. But when you look at them and think, I couldn't do a better job than that because it was just physically too hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that can
must
be
hard.
Can be distressing sometimes.
And especially if you know that the like family want to see the body.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know you've spoken about this before. Would you, in certain situations, you'd advise that they don't?
We can advise that they don't, but we can't.
But legally,
they can't stop
can't
them.
they?
Yeah. If they want to view. And that, for some people, I mean, like, who are we really to say that they shouldn't view?
Yeah, and what we think people will find distressing, we don't know.
They might not, yeah.
You don't know, do you?
You know, you might need that actual closure. So it's hard to know, really.
I've got some questions. It's a bit of a pop quiz or just a bit of discussion because I
probably won't know the answers.
Yeah, you will. And anyhow, if you don't, we can just discuss it. These were some very commonly asked questions. So with the help of our friend AI, I did a bit of fact checking and I'm always really interested to know whether it is actually true. And obviously it's drawing on loads of things over the internet. But so these questions I've got, well, certain things, these are things that came up again and again. So it's just showing me what people are Googling, essentially, which is what we're interested in a lot of the time.
So people have asked these questions?
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
okay.
So which organ decomposes first after death? Do you know the answer to that? No. So it says here it's the liver.
I was going to say maybe the liver.
Is that because it's the softest?
Not because it's the softest. It's one of the largest organs.
Okay. Is it? How big is the liver then? Use your hands for our viewers.
It can vary. Some people can have little ones. I can't really explain it. So if you put your hand on your side and then to the middle, it's probably across like that.
Wow. All those people abusing it every night with booze.
Yeah, so they'd probably weigh, I don't know, 1.2 kg maybe.
Wow.
Bag of sugar.
Yeah.
Just over a bag of sugar. Sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're not.
Which organs remain alive after death?
Wow, I don't know. What do you mean by that?
So
which organs? Skin?
The brain and nerve cells require constant supply of oxygen and will die within a few minutes once you stop breathing.
Yeah.
Which you've discussed. The next that goes will be the heart, followed by the liver, then the kidneys and the pancreas, which can last for about an hour.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Skin, tendons, heart valves and corneas.
Yes, because you can use them from a dead body.
Yeah, so that comes up next.
For implants for the people.
So they'll be alive.
Donation.
They'll still be alive after a day.
Yeah, so
incredible.
occasionally, very occasionally, I mean, we don't really have it at our place, but it has been known that people will donate their corneas.
Yeah.
So someone will come into the mortuary and take them.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to ask that question. There's a bit here about
I've never seen it done. But I've only heard about it, and I know that it does happen because they're on like an emergency type.
Yeah,
like
register kind of thing.
Well, they'll sort of, if they know they can come and get someone's corneas, they'll tell you that day they're coming, and it's a very quick process. Wow. So they'll come and they'll get them, and they'll have it all ready to transport.
It's amazing.
But yeah, so things like tendons and stuff can be used for transplant as well, which is mad.
It says here the brain is the only organ that cannot be supported or replaced by medical technology.
Well, yeah, so you can have,
But you can, there are machines for transplantation that can support or replace the function of organs such as the heart, lung, liver or kidney. Yeah. Why is the tongue removed during autopsy? This is a question that's Googled a lot, apparently.
Okay, I'd be interested to know what they've said.
Well,
so,
yeah, because
shall I tell you why we take it out?
I think you might have told me either through an episode or not. I don't know. When we did Over My Dead Body, I think it might have been that one. So that was quite an early episode. You did talk the listeners through the
removal of it.
I think we did the whole thing, didn't we? So,
maybe. Yeah.
So I wrote. Yeah, shall I read what's here? And then you can tell me if it's accurate.
Tell me.
So the tongue isn't always removed in an autopsy, but when it is, it's usually part of the neck block. And I remember using these block words. Top block.
On block.
Or where the trachea and esophagus to thoroughly examine the entire upper digestive tract for subtle injuries like strangulation, marks, tumours, infections or signs of disease that might not be obvious otherwise, helping to determine the cause of death, especially in trauma or suspicious circumstances. Pathologists remove it to check for hidden trauma, swelling, or pathology in the neck structures, organs and tissues that contribute to breathing and swallowing.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And choking.
And choking. Well, choking wasn't mentioned there then. Choking, I imagine, is that fairly
Obstruction
common?
of the airway. To be honest, it's not that common, but we did have one the other day and they had a lemon in their airway. And I said he was desperate for that gin and tonic.
Oh, my God.
He whacked it back.
Just a section
Lemon
slice.
like a chunk of lemon. His airway was obstructed by it, so it was an airway obstruction that caused the death.
Oh my God, that must be such a horrendous, horrendous way to go.
Yeah.
Just imagine the panic. So did you find it? Was that you?
My colleague did.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay. I mean,
and of course, because it doesn't happen that often,
it's
everyone's
interesting,
like,
fascinating.
So you go over and have a look.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some poo-related questions.
Oh, my favourite.
Yeah, I love the poo-related. Now, it's actually, they've called it poop, which I feel it's probably American, isn't it? So how long after death does the body release poop or poo? It says here the timing can vary significantly. Some might release their bowels shortly after passing, while others may not until later during decomposition stages when gases build up inside the intestines. This could be days later. It's a natural part of our biological process, often overlooked in discussions about mortality. So,
and I have said to you before, I would shit myself if I thought I was going to die.
So is that true? So some people release bowels when they, in the moments after death?
Of death or before death even.
Really, yeah. I suppose if somebody's poorly, they're like
the body tends to purge
good.
everything it doesn't need.
Right.
You know, if somebody's dying and it's a medical reason, they can purge, get rid of everything that they don't need anymore.
Okay.
If somebody dies in an accident maybe or for a reason that's obviously not medical, a lot of people shit themselves.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's like childbirth.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And
So,
I don't judge.
So, and if they don't, what this is saying here is it might not be might not be later until decomposition with the build-up of gases. Is that pushing, presumably, everything out?
I mean, when they're at that stage of decomposition, literally, shit's the last of your worries.
Okay.
But also, it doesn't mean if they haven't, that it's going to come out at another time. It doesn't always. You don't always need a poo, do you? So if you've not eaten anything or you've been for one that morning and then you've died that day.
I feel like we're getting a real insight into Carrie's poo habits.
Poo habits, yeah. You might not need a poo.
Okay.
So it is one of them.
So this next one I read, and I'm not going to lie that I laughed out loud, right? And then I felt immediately awful.
Oh, God, why?
So what is the dead donor rule? Is this something that you've ever heard?
Dead donor?
Yeah, dead donor. And when I read this, I was like, this can't be real. The dead donor rule requires patients to be declared dead before the removal of life-sustaining organs for transplantation.
Well, I think that would be fairly self-explanatory.
I think that feels like that should happen, right?
Yeah, otherwise it's a little bit
Sweeney Todd. This is something that this had to take place. So the concept of brain death was developed in part to allow patients with devastating neurological injury to be declared dead before the occurrence of cardiopulmonary arrest, which is that heart attack.
Yeah,
right.
Heart stuff. Yeah.
And I wonder whether this was done because if somebody is declared brain dead or, you know, whatever, if their organs are still good, can they be removed while that body's still alive? I don't even know what the law is around that.
I don't know. And I don't deal with that.
I think what this is suggesting is what is the dead donor rule.
Yeah, I'm assuming that would be a legality, that they have to be dead.
As in the heart has stopped.
As in, like, if we turn this machine off, they will not survive.
Yeah.
And then if the family are willing...
we probably need to look into that because I didn't go any further with it. But
I mean, I know that in the UK now you are all opted in to be organ donors unless you decide not to.
Yeah, which is
good.
Really. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know, nobody wants to die, but if something good can come of it, then it should, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. What 12 organs can you live without?
Oh,
That's outrageous. 12 organs.
12, that's a lot, isn't it?
I mean, obviously, I can't imagine that if you lived without all 12 of them, you wouldn't do very well.
yeah, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you can probably do with one kidney.
Yeah, so
Anything
one
you
of
can
your
donate.
lungs, one of your kidneys,
Yeah.
your spleen.
Yeah, because you can get medication to help live without your spleen.
What does the spleen do?
I think it's something to do with immunity. So you're asking me, I don't know. I think it has something to do with your immune system and your blood cells.
Okay.
Red blood cells.
Okay.
I mean, that might need editing out because that could be wrong.
Okay. Well, we'll check that then. Your appendix, your gallbladder.
Yeah.
Appendix.
I haven't got a gallbladder. Mine was removed.
When?
Oh, God, ages ago.
A couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, just left it in the car. Oh, God, years ago. Your appendix, we don't really
Why
need our appendix.
why did you have to have your gallbladder removed?
Because it was a poorly one.
Oh, really?
Making me sick, yeah.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm over it.
Yeah.
It's about 15 years ago.
Gosh, okay. So gallbladder,
Yeah.
adenoids.
Adenoids are
What's
like in the back of your throat.
Okay.
Tonsils and adenoids.
Tonsils.
Yeah.
Plus some of your lymph nodes, the fibular bones from each leg and 6 of your ribs.
Okay.
I mean, if all of that was going
Yeah.
on, you'd sort of be like an empty sack, wouldn't you?
No, you've got loads more organs to keep me going. But it is mad to think of them all individually. Do you know what I mean? Like an appendix.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes when I'm taking out the bowel and stuff like that, I don't always consider my appendix to be an independent organ.
Oh, here's a question. Have you ever done an autopsy on somebody that's had an organ removed and you've been like, where's that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Sometimes you'll get to like the kidneys and you'll be like, there's only one kid here.
Ah,
And then you might not have seen a scar. Could be a really old scar.
okay. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, sometimes.
Or like a surprising day at work for
Yeah.
you. Wow, okay. And then we've got one of the questions came up a lot. Don't know, it's very specific, but what happens 5 minutes before death? In the minutes before death, breathing often becomes irregular, shallow or noisy, the death rattle, with pauses, which is called the chain
stoking.
But yeah, as the body slows down, circulation drops and consciousness fades, though hearing and touch may remain, which is interesting. So I remember them saying, because my mum was very, very poorly, as lots of people are, she was unconscious.
They can still hear you.
And they said, keep talking to her, play the music. And so we were singing to her and stuff. And they said, she will hear you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't it
Yeah.
incredible? Even as the skin cools and mottles, the heart eventually stops after the last breath, often as a final gasp. These are normal physical processes as organ systems shut down, leading to a deep sleep or unresponsiveness. I mean, deep sleep or unresponsiveness, yeah. But the person might still perceive sound or touch.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just
It's madness,
fascinating, isn't it? But I've heard this death rattle, and obviously I've seen
Yeah.
it sadly as well. But it isn't that interesting that I found that really fascinating, like how through medical, obviously this is a medical cause of death, isn't it? How that body is just bit by bit just stopping until the last breath. It's like
Sort of poetic, isn't it?
it kind of is, yeah. It's strange. And we've talked about this. This was the purging.
Purging.
We've already talked about that.
Yeah.
Are eyes removed during autopsy?
No.
Okay.
But you know, people can donate corneas after they're dead, so they can come and have some of their eyes removed, and they put in like caps to replace them.
Really?
Yeah, and we sometimes take fluid
Do
from
they
the
take
eye.
the whole eyeball away, or just they don't do? They take the whole eyeball. So then you put these
Put like
caps.
a cap underneath, so
So
it
that
gives
they-
the impression of
yeah.
an eyeball.
Wow.
And then we sometimes take fluid from the eyes,
Okay.
which always reminds me of Shrek, because he always says, "Take the jelly from your eyes."
It's like
Maybe cut that out. Yeah.
Okay.
But so we take that sometimes and test it.
What are you testing it for?
It's called vitreous. We're sometimes testing it for blood sugars and
Okay.
things like that.
Right. Interesting. So it's not true that they're always removed. No.
No, most of the time they're not.
Why do morticians put cotton in the mouth?
Purging.
So to absorb all those
Yeah.
fluids. Okay.
I mean, we're not technically morticians, so
What is
I'm
the
assuming.
difference between your job title, anatomical pathology technician, and
Well, I
mortician?
think it's changed somewhat. So a mortician in a funeral home wouldn't do an autopsy,
Okay.
so that's the only difference.
Okay. They are just.
But they would get
a
a body-
mortician prepares them cosmetically. So they'd
It's
wash
different-
them and dress them.
there's
and-
different meanings in the UK and in America.
Okay.
Anyway,
Right.
But I think for me, from what I understand, is morticians do more of the stuff in the funeral homes, as a part of the funeral directors, and that can be from preparing the bodies, helping with embalming. I'm assuming they've got an embalmer,
And makeup, I suppose, if they
getting them
go down
ready
that route,
for funerals and burial.
So it wouldn't necessarily. It could be their job then to put cotton in the mouth
it could be,
because they've not had an
They've
autopsy.
not had an autopsy.
I see.
So they still, people can purge, and they do because that's part of the natural decay. And we sometimes do it if people are very fluidy and stuff. But
Well, there was one more, but I'm going to leave that because even I haven't got the stomach for that.
what is it?
I know.
That's made me interested.
I know. Well, I mean, I can do it, but do morticians remove tampons?
Oh yeah.
Okay, she's
we have
just
to.
straight in. You're straight in with that. Because I was like,
Anything that's on a body, you remove it.
oh, wow. So you
There's
just...
lots of and actually it does make you think a lot of, did you see in the news about sort of period poverty where people haven't got money for panty liners and towels and things like that.
Yeah.
And people do use all sorts of things
Oh, my God, that's
to
so sad.
combat maybe slight incontinence or something like that. Find all sorts of things being used, which is
my
really
God.
sad.
It's really sad.
But yeah,
it's
I'm
really
not,
telling.
those sorts of things don't faze me.
No, isn't that a really telling thing about where we are in society?
And
that
that we
people are
can't-
having to do that.
And that we can't be honest with somebody and say, I need this.
I need some tampons.
Yeah,
or I
well,
need some
yeah.
tenor lady or whatever.
I think most of the times tampons are probably not for the age group that potentially are coming for post-mortem a lot of the time.
Yeah, of course.
But things like panty liners and
Anything for
those sorts of things,
continence,
continence stuff all the time.
So let's finish on some smelly stuff, shall we? If it's not poo, though.
please.
Yeah. Does it smell in the mortuary? That's one of the questions.
During post-mortem, yes.
Okay. So most visitors are surprised to find that morgues smell more clinical than anything else.
Yeah, because we do clean. There's a lot of cleaning goes on.
Because we do clean.
Yeah,
Kind of
we
have
try to clean, yeah.
And then this one, we'll finish on this, which I thought was really interesting. What's the old lady's smell called? Did you know there was this, right? So let's say, for example, when we visit a nursing home, it has a very unique smell, doesn't it? So there's an underlying waft of piss and shit, usually, and some
lilac,
odd food.
lilies.
Yeah, but this actually has its own name. So the old lady smell, or old people smell, is scientifically known as nonial. Nonial? Nonennial. Can you pronounce that any better than I'm doing?
No.
Nonenal.
That'll do.
Okay. So it's a natural chemical compound produced when the omega-7 fatty acids on our skin break down and oxidize, creating a distinct, musty, grassy, greasy odour that becomes more noticeable with age. Wait for this. Starting around 40.
No. And people just think that's pheromones.
Yeah, it's harmless, natural part of ageing, not necessarily poor hygiene, caused by declining antioxidants and hormonal changes that increase lipid oxidation.
That is depressing.
So we've
already started to decay.
smell a bit. Yeah, because
We're decaying.
we're decaying. But on that cheery note, don't worry, because,
Some people like it.
wait, right, how can you get rid of the old person smell in a house?
Oh no.
Myra Clinical's Persimmon soap combats this smell, nonial. I bet we've pronounced all of that wrong. And that musty, waxy odour through natural ingredients, and it's clinically proven to work. So
I feel
there's
like
an
we're
actual
advertising.
Specific soap can be used to clean a property or whatever that has this
Can you use it on your body?
old person smell, I presume so. I mean, it's a soap, although it does say in a house.
I mean, do you know
What, are
what?
you going to start using it now you're 44?
Don't age me out in public. I just think, well, fuck it. If you've got to that age and you start to smell, so what?
I just was amazed that this is a
Yeah.
process. So, we potentially have a waft of must and lavender about us that we're unaware of.
Often wine.
Not me,
Wine is
darling.
sometimes disguised by.
Yeah. I'm just going to carry on eating garlic, I think. It's
Yeah.
preferable. I don't want to have an old lady
the
smell.
smell of garlic.
Anyhow, that was a fascinating episode.
Yeah.
I do hope the
Let's
listeners
hope we got all the information correct.
have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank
I know
you.
that you're ever tolerant to all my inane questions, but I think people will enjoy this.
So we hope to see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning into It's a Death Sentence. Please keep listening to our weekly episodes.
And if you like our show, please like, share and subscribe.
We are dying to talk to you.